battle that, if not topping it, honestly,
Start the
undoubtedly
game.
topping it in importance, YouTube drama.
You know?
And we've got a few clips to react to today, quite a few clips, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clips in fact. And the first one we're going to start with is this clip of Sneeko and John Zerka. I'm sure you guys know who Sneeko is if you watch my stuff. I'm not going to re-explain who he is. John Zerka is sort of a, I honestly think he's more of a troll type figure than anything else. I think he's more of an opportunist, you know, a grifter, so to speak. He's definitely entertaining, but I don't think he really believes in half the shit he says as far as like the right-wing stuff he's been spouting recently. But they got clipped and posted to this Sneeko updates account, and a lot of people are talking about it. You can see here, the caption is Sneeko and Zerka got EDP Riz. So getting off to a great start on this one. Let's see what they had to say.
Hey, yo, girls, what up? You guys look like you voted for Joe Biden.
No, don't say that. Actually, we would make a great double date. I like you on the left, and I think Zerka likes...
Okay, so right off the bat, kind of a weird comment, to be honest with you, because do they not look obviously underage? Like, do they not obviously look like pretty young? I mean, there are scenarios where, you know, maybe let's say an adult guy is trying to hit on a girl and he finds out she's underage, where she looks very adult, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna walk away from this. Sorry, didn't mean to, you know, do any weird shit. That does happen. As long as you don't engage or do anything weird about it, it's like whatever. But in this case, like, they obviously, I mean, I don't know, to me anyway, this one on the left looks like 14.
On the right.
They're both on the left. What up, girls? I want to kiss you guys.
How old are you?
Oh, I got that white smiling. Let's go.
Stop. How old are you guys?
He's saying let's go. There's no way they don't know. And this is the thing, a lot of people are calling like Sneeko and Zerka like for this clip. I feel like they had to have known and were baiting for content because they thought it would be like a funny clip that would go viral. I feel like there's no way that they just like, I don't know, there's just no way.
Underage. Well, you just
Like,
yeah.
like how underage though? Like,
And how underage? Why even? If they say underage, I feel like that's your flag to fuck off, right? Because it's like, well, there's plenty of legal girls. You don't need to pursue them. But then Sneeko's like, oh, well, you're like, you know, 17.
like your birthday's next week type shit?
Like, we can't go to Starbucks, white bitch?
And I will be turning 15 in a month.
There's no, this fucking stupid soy face. There's no way he didn't know. I refuse to believe that Sneeko is this stupid. I feel like he definitely knew at that point. I feel like he knew even before this point that they were underage. They look fucking underage. They just do. So I don't know. Maybe I just need to give them way less benefit of the doubt. Maybe they are true creeps, but I just don't see it that way. I feel like they knew. I feel like they made this clip for content. I'm not saying the girls were in on it or it was staged or something, but I think like they called them on, you know, Omegle or whatever service this is, and they saw that they were underage. And Sneeko decided, you know what, it would make a good clip if I like hit on them, and then I'm like, oh wait, you're 16, haha, sorry. Like, I feel like he probably thought it would be, you know, funny or something like that.
Like your birthday's next week type shit?
And I will be turning 15 in a month.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
What is up with this type shit thing, by the way? Like, what? Everyone says type shit now. Type shit. What do you mean type shit? Why do you need to add that on? Why do you need to add that onto every fucking sentence? Just ask a question. Like, your birthday's next week? Okay, that's all you need to say. That's like the whole statement there is communicated. The message, the question is there. Then you add type shit. Why? Does it make it sound more
it's a bit
gangster? Is
loud.
that it, Sneeko? You didn't used to say that. Okay, you didn't used to say that type shit. I don't know. Whatever, man. Anyway, yeah, that's the Sneeko clip of the day. Obviously, he's going to get clowned on for this by people. I'm sure Critical will react to it on stream or whatever. Other commentary YouTubers will see it. They'll dunk on him. They'll destroy him. And I don't even blame them, honestly. All right, so this next clip is a clip of Tana Mojo, who is looking rather, I feel like she looks different. Maybe she has a lot of makeup on, I don't really know. But Tana Mojo, obviously you guys know, was one of the content cops back in the day. I think she was the second to last one because the Rice Gum was the latest one, and before that was hers. And she was basically the girl who was telling Idubbbz to, like, you know, go kill himself. And she was saying the N-word in like a racist context, and then she was like, you know, telling Idubbbz to go off himself because he was saying that word and stuff like that. So he decided to punk her. He went to her convention. He did the same N-word line, which obviously, you know, everyone here knows. And I remember after that happened, Tana actually went on the No Jumper podcast to talk about, this was like shortly after it happened, to talk about how she felt about it. So shortly after that video went live, right, this, you know, Idubbbz goes to see Tana Mojo. Oh wow, we're gonna have to censor that. Nice. That's right in the thumbnail. Really? You put it right in the fucking thumbnail? So there's this No Jumper podcast, obviously you guys know what it is, hosted by Adam22. Tana went on, she talked about the Idubbbz content comp, she talked about how it was humbling for her and how she felt like she deserved it, and she fucked up, and like it was a good video that needed to happen, and she just kind of had to, you know, take the medicine well and fuck off. It's a pretty interesting clip, and she seems to feel the same way to this day. I'll play a little bit of this right now.
Paying that much attention. I'm gonna be honest, I don't give a fuck about the content cops. Everybody acts like they're so exciting when they come out. I don't watch them. I've watched them before. I don't care.
He's really smart. He's really good at what he does. He's never like, and it
took me a long time to realize that, because for a long time I was just like, why me? Why? And then I realized, like, it's you, because, like, he never ever will make a content cop about somebody who doesn't come for him first. And I didn't know that, and I was entitled.
But in what way did you come for him? You called him out for saying the N-word?
In a horrible way. In like the meanest, like,
you made a video?
No, actually my boyfriend at the time was obsessed with his videos, and then I heard like 30 seconds of it, like 10 seconds of it. I just hear him saying the N.
Do you think that her boyfriend was one of the guys that met iDubbbz in the store and like said slurs at him or whatever, and then that like changed his whole mind on his content and made him want to like become this freaking advocate or whatever? You think you think it was iDubbbz fan taking her down at that point in time? It's possible.
This white guy saying the N-word. I've said it in the past. There are vines of me saying it. I don't even think
How
about
old
it.
were you in those?
I don't know the specific age, like 13, 14, 15, it ranges.
Yeah, I really don't think we should be calling up 13-year-olds for saying the N-word, to be honest.
But I was stupid about it. I was really, and I tweeted him.
By the way, I would agree with Adam's take here. I don't think you should be calling out like young teenagers for that. At least not on the internet.
Yourself, like mean as shit.
You were 16?
Probably like 16 or 17.
And you had a ton of followers, and you're calling out iDubbbz. That is pretty hilarious.
It was stupid. I was so wrong. And so then he just went low-key, didn't reply to it. I deleted the tweet. He made a contact off on me, and I...
Like right after, or what?
No, it was like a few months after he like came to my meet and greet. You know, he was like, seen it all, yeah. But I deserved it 100%, and the contact cop good.
I feel like
And she seems to understand like the reason it happened was because of her own actions. She publicly criticizes dude. And there's an aspect here of it's like, okay, Tana was so young. Did she deserve to have that video made on her when she was like 18? I mean maybe not, right? She was a public figure, but a lot of the things she was being asked to answer for was stuff she did when she was a teenager. So to an extent, there is kind of the aspect there where it's like, well, should you really even criticize for that? In a perfect world, no, of course not. But at the same time, she did, things publicly. She got called out publicly. And she seems here to have like made peace with the fact that, if you do stuff like that, you might get called out and it might go poorly for you. And it's not like it ended her career or anything. She had she peaked in popularity way after the content cop. But here she seemed to think that it was, a decent video. And here she is recently talking about iDubbbz's apology. Obviously, I've talked about iDubbbz's video a bunch. It's it's titled "I Miss the Old iDubbbz," and this is a podcast where she talked about how she feels about all that now.
Ever, we've never ever spoken. And I guess he posted this apology video, apologizing for like a bunch of things he did in the past. One of them being the video he made with me, or like to me, or something. And I was like, damn, like I just never expected that, and I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know how to say this. I'm not talking about anything in regards of the things he said, but I'm more so just talking about like his actions to me, like him showing up to my show, him kind of putting me on blast, him inevitably making me kind of canceled and lose subscribers and have to apologize and all that type of stuff. I kind of think I like deserved that. And maybe that's like dark, like to say, but like I don't feel like I'm owed an apology. And maybe that's because I've accepted it so much.
And obviously she goes on to talk about this. This is kind of an out of context clip, so I don't know the full context of this podcast, but right here from this clip, she seems to think that even to this day, she deserved the content cop. She's not mad about it. She's not salty about it to this day. She doesn't feel like she's owed an apology because, as she said in the prior, no jumper clip, she's the one who came for Ian. It's not like Ian picked her off the street. She publicly went after Ian. She publicly told him that he should end his life for the things he says, and then he caught her being a hypocrite, and that's basically, all it was about. And to this day, she seems to understand that what she did back then was wrong, and that she kind of had to atone for her sins in that way, and that's, she doesn't seem to think it's that big of a deal, and I think that's the argument that a lot of people kind of, on my side are making, that, everything Ian did, everything he's apologizing for, it's just not a big deal, and I think, because of that, nobody should really be that upset. Nobody was even upset back then when it was going on, it was at the peak of its popularity. Nobody seemed to care. Now all of a sudden everyone's rewriting history to be how iDubbbz is the king of hate speech or whatever else. But yeah, I just thought it was kind of an interesting clip from Tana. It's good to see she has a mature take on that. She honestly seems pretty cool, pretty down to earth. I wouldn't say necessarily relatable. She's a very interesting person. She seems to have a good head on her shoulders, and it was good to see this clip. So listen guys, can I get some W Tana Mojos in chat? W iDubbbz fan who probably got hit back there or something. I don't know. Oh yeah, W Tana iDubbbz. Wait, I'm actually not leaving. There's another clip. Okay, so I guess now Mizkif, you guys probably all know, is going to Rumble, and a lot of people are giving Rumble and Mizkif a lot of for this because of some stuff that happened with him and Adriana Lee, who a while ago, basically Mizkif had a situation where it looked like he was covering up some kind of sexual assault from his friend, Crazy Slick, and I think a lot of people are confused as to what even happened in that drama because it went down at the same time that the Slicker drama went on, and Slicker was this dude who was basically borrowing streamers' money, quote-unquote borrowing their money in order to gamble basically away, gamble away his debts, and he was a gambling addict. And so it happened at the same time where this one guy named Crazy Slick and one guy named Slicker who, you know, were in drama at the same exact time during like the fucking Twitch meltdown. And I think that a lot of people were confused by what was going on there. But basically, I think the situation was that Mizkif had a friend named Crazy Slick. Allegedly, this hasn't been proven in a court of law, but allegedly he went into, I think, Adriana Lee's room at night and I think groped her when she was sleeping. And Mizkif basically said, I mean, he said this on stream. I know he said this. He said it wasn't that big of a deal. I could probably find that clip right now. So here's the clip. I did manage to find it. We'll just play it real quick.
Of what you can deem of it, it's sexual harassment at a low scale. It's not really a big deal. I don't think people really gave a shit and really cared.
So you got a lot of shit for this clip, obviously, because it makes him look horrible. But basically now he's being signed to Rumble, and people are giving Rumble and Mizkif a bunch of shit for this. Rumble obviously is a decent sized competitor to Twitch, and they're getting a lot of talent right now. They've got, I think they just got iShowSpeed and Kai Cenat to do a show there. Now they're getting Mizkif, so they're definitely getting some big talent. You know, whatever you think of Mizkif, he still pulls good numbers. He's still clearly a talented streamer, and he'll definitely bring a lot to that platform. We'll hear him talk about it here.
Your Pog champs can be ready. I will be streaming on Rumble. Yes. I'll be streaming an additional day on Twitch. So now instead of streaming 3 days, I'm streaming 4. So it won't take away from Twitch at all. It basically is going to add time on Twitch. I'm literally gonna be streaming more, and that's it. It's literally it. It's basically my alt stream Synac is now just gonna be on Rumble.
Is he okay, by the way? Like, he looks like is he high or like strung out or hung over? Like, there's something wrong with him. Like, he's going through something right now. I don't know what it would be. I don't know if he's under a lot of stress from streaming or something. I really don't know what's up with him. Lasting says so he can say the N-word. Oh yeah, there were some N-word DMs of him or something, I think, from what was it? From Ice Poseidon or something, which, you know, obviously I'm not gonna get mad at. I don't have anything to say about that. Yeah, so I guess he's going to Rumble now. I'm excited to see how that goes. Rumble overall is a pretty interesting streaming platform. I honestly thought that Kick was gonna be the one to come out on top of the, you know, you have like Twitch, you have YouTube,
and we're back.
These alt sites are Rumble, Kick. I thought that Kick was going to be the one to come out on top because they had Trainwrecks, who I thought kind of understood content creation better. But it seems like, at least for now, Rumble is coming out ahead because Kick, really the only big streamer they have signed, I think, is Aiden. And, you know, Aiden is a good pull. Aiden Ross is undoubtedly an entertaining guy, and he brings a lot of new viewers to the platform. But his audience is not really growing right now. I think it's kind of stagnating a little bit. And I think that even beyond that, you can't have a streaming site with just one big guy, or else it's just going to be the Aiden site. You need like 10, 20, 30 big guys. And Rumble seems to be doing that. You know, they're pulling it off. I don't know if it's because they have more money than Kick. I was under the impression that Kick has a ton of money because they're backed by Stake, the casino, which gives them a ton of funding. Maybe people are just scared to go to Kick and instead they want to go to Rumble. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know why Rumble is more appealing to people. I think the site looks worse than Kick, to be honest with you. I think Rumble has like a UI, but regardless, more people are going to Rumble. It's not just the Sneeko site anymore. It's not just the, you know, controversial right winger that got banned site. Mainstream people are going to Rumble. Obviously, Leafy's streaming there, but he's not pulling insane numbers, but he's doing all right. He's pulling a few thousand when he goes live. But yeah, Rumble seems to be really pulling ahead. And it's even like Rumble is more competitive to Twitch than Mixer was back in the day, it seems. Which obviously Mixer was backed by Ninja, back to Twitch. Mixer is no more now, but it seems like Rumble could have a good shot at, you know, taking some market share away from Twitch. And with a bunch of streamers already leaving Twitch, you know, the whole W or L community, all of them being frustrated with Twitch's policies on the way, it seems like there's a decent incentive to go to Rumble. They're seemingly offering decent contracts from whatever behind the scenes a little bit. There's you know, quite a bit of money going around, even for smaller streamers. So maybe you guys are looking to start live streaming, go to Rumble. Maybe that's the place to be. Alright, so in other news, we've got Rice Gum. Obviously, we all know who Rice Gum is. I actually have, like, my opinion of Rice Gum has warmed up more over time. I hated him back in the day. I thought he was a terrible person. Now that I've grown a little older, I see that a lot of stuff he did was more for show. It was more for the entertainment value of it, rather than to be a complete soul just for the sake of that. You know, if you really have a problem with, like, the "did it feel good, though" comment that he made, if you're mad about that to this day, then I can't stop you. But, you know, looking back at that, I honestly think it's kind of funny. And it even seems like something that iDubbbz would do back then, which is funny. You know, it's funny that he called him out for that in the video. He was like, "You really asked a victim that," when the girl didn't even seem to be mad, like, at it. If she was mad, like, that would be another story. If he didn't, like, apologize or whatever, that would be another story. But in fairness, like, she didn't seem mad. She didn't seem, like, weirded out. She seemed to know it was just for stream content. After the fact, she, you know, accepted his apology right away and was like, yeah, you know, I didn't realize you were really trying to be weird or anything, but it's whatever. And then they hung out after that, and in the content comp response, they were in a room where she was like pole dancing and shaking her ass for him, so clearly she didn't care that much. For other things RiceGum did, I think the worst thing you could probably do is mystery brands, obviously like scam sponsorship, which is whatever, right? Well, I shouldn't say it's whatever, but it's like everyone did that back in the day. I'm not condoning it, but it's like we already know the deal with that. I don't mean it's whatever, is it? Like it's like I'm fine with it, obviously. But anyway, here we have RiceGum reacts to iShow Speed being upset. Out with him more. RiceGum is back. I guess he's streaming on Twitch or something. We've seen quite a few clips of him come out recently. Quite a bit to say. I will say, I think his ability to speak has degraded even more with time. I feel like back then he was a somewhat intelligent, coherent individual, but it seems like his brain processes have become degraded.
This was before Speed blew up, right?
Get right, he'll introduce you.
For one cycle, too.
What? Wait, hold on. He was about to say something. Wait, what? Yo, me
He
and
was about to say some.
Speed got smoked. I'm just kidding. Wait, no, guys, he
Smoke.
said so.
I hate how instead of saying like the full syllable, he says smoke instead of smoke. Smoke. We got smoke.
About me. Wait, watch. I thought I had.
Get Rice, he'll introduce you to her.
Bro, I already see, bro.
That what?
I don't know.
Why do you see that what? As if he's surprised he said that. That what?
He said you was never about that. About to do that. Wait. He was about to say he don't know where you are at. Oh, okay. No, yeah. So he came to the house, and to be fair, bro, oh man, you know, I wish I hung out with him more at the house. He said you had an ego, bro. I was doing my own stream, bro. So you know, before he flew into the house, you know, we had like me and Aiden had a schedule. I would wake up, you know, get my food, then he banned don't watch. Wait, so I can watch Aiden, but I can't watch Speed. Damn, man.
So obviously this is like a completely clip. It doesn't even mean anything. He's just describing how I guess iShow Speed came over to the Clout House and Aiden was streaming, and RiceGum was streaming, and I guess Speed got the impression that Rice had some kind of ego, which he probably did at the time anyway, regardless of that. But I guess Rice is just saying he was busy streaming, so he didn't have time to hang out with iShow Speed a lot. So yeah, I guess that's what they're talking about. Regardless of that, I just think it's interesting to see that RiceGum is, I mean, I think he was kind of gone for a while. I mean, I made a video about that on my main channel, but he kind of dipped from social media for a bit. I know recently he came back and he had a situation with his baby. Unfortunately, I think there was a miscarriage, which was very sad. But apart from that, there's also this clip of RiceGum reacting to Moist Critical hating on him. He said, "I'm their enemy and I don't even know them," which is obviously like kind of ironic coming from RiceGum because RiceGum was, you know, the roasting king back in the day, roast children all day. Not that he had a huge emotional investment in it, but definitely was some of the fire back. Here we have this video, Rice talking about Moist Critical. So let's see what he says.
He was for a long time my least favorite person on the platform. I kept up with him, man. I was like a full-blown hate watcher.
He was a full-blown hate watcher. How was his parasocial enemy? Like, what's good with bro?
What is good with his ability to debate and or not even debate, his ability to conversate and like explain things just degraded this much over time. He's not even English.
Hate watcher. How was his parasocial enemy? Like, what's good with bro?
He didn't talk like this back then, not to that extent.
No, that's crazy. Bro, motherfuckers really praying on my downfall. That shit worked. Damn, that's crazy. Nah, bro, that clip was diabolical, bro. Nah, that clip was crazy, bro. Nah, bro, that clip is crazy.
Why do you just keep repeating the same thing? That clip was crazy. Nah, bro, that clip was crazy. I want to like you, RiceGum. I think you're funny. I like your fucking raps, okay? I think your raps are sick. I think they're fucking nasty. I think they're beast mode. And then you come out and you just, like, why do you speak like this? You sound more intelligent in fucking frick to police than you do in this clip.
Like, it's one thing to hate someone, but bro know my whole life story type shit. Damn, that shit's crazy. Nah, nah. It's crazy. Nah, bro, he was serious. No, like, have you guys heard about a parasocial? I can't even talk. Parasocial.
Thank you, RiceGum, for that genius. Have you heard of a parasocial relationship? This honestly reminds me of a clip where you have Aiden Ross saying the word fascism out loud. Let's see. Aiden Ross is literate. I think it should be illiterate, or whatever it's called.
What does a fascist mean?
And I can't tell to this day if this clip is like being played up for the laugh or if Aiden is actually this fucking stupid.
It means you are a far right authorization on ultra analyst, political ideology movement characterized by dictator leadership, centralized autocracy, militarism, forcible suppression of opposition. So I don't know what that means, bro. I swear to God, I don't know what the fascism is. I don't know.
Like, I don't want to sound like too much of a fucking nerd here, okay? I acknowledge blind boom sound effect, fucking nerd emoji on screen right now, okay? You guys know exactly like what I'm talking about. I don't mean to sound like a fucking nerd. I'm not saying you have to, you know, be the perfect English poet at all times, okay? Be a perfect linguist. What I am saying is like, know what basic words mean. Like, did you not go to fucking high school? Like, in like freshman year, they probably taught you what fascism is. I'm not saying you have to remember everything about it, but at least being able to pronounce it shouldn't be that difficult. What the fuck were you doing?
Benito Mussolini and Giviante Genitile and Jason Stanley. Like, who the fuck are these people, bro? Never heard of my fucking life. What is an example of a fascist?
Why is he so fucking stupid? And obviously this is like cut from the same cloth as Rice Gum, because back in the day, Rice Gum was similarly, you know, doing the same kind of content as Aiden, just like causing outrage for the sake of it, taking these weird, like, kind of scammy sponsorships. And it's like, whatever. I don't know, man. It just kind of rubs me the wrong way. I want to like Rice Gum. I feel like maybe at one point he was smarter than he let on. Maybe we've passed that point. Maybe his brain is too fried from extensive narcotics use. I really can't, you know, directly speculate on. I guess I can directly speculate on what happened. I don't know what happened though. So yeah, I don't really know what the deal is with Rice Gum here, but I guess he's kind of come back to Twitch and he's talking, having a little bit of fun, saying, you know, teaching his audience about the importance of parasocial relationships and how they need to be broken, okay? How their bonds need to be broken, how you need to stop and take a step back and chill out, guys.
Is when a viewer at home is watching someone so much that they're like, oh, I know that person and I know that he lives here and he likes basketball and he likes this and he likes that. These motherfuckers, I'm their enemy and I don't even know them. I don't even know them. And I'm fucking, that's just crazy.
That's just crazy, bro. Says the guy who, once again, was like, he got famous off bullying kids. Did he have a parasocial relationship with them? Probably not. Yeah, I don't know, man. Anyway, that's about gonna wrap it up for today's episode of Drama YouTube News, bringing you the most important fire clips of news in all of the land. Okay, you guys, I'm so passionate.
I'm gay.
Thanks for watching. Leave a like if you liked it. Dislike if you disliked it. Leave a comment down below with your thoughts on all of this. It's always good to hear what you guys have to say. Follow my Instagram, Tom But Dark. Bye. Bye for watching.
Let's see your talent, you ugly piece of.
Okay, stop.
He ended up coming back on the show roughly 3 months later, and the discussion was a little bit more productive that time, mostly owed to the fact that Hans had been working with a psychiatrist Dr. Phil provided. During those months, Mr. Vegan had managed to stay out of trouble with the law, and things were looking up. His mother also acknowledged that she had been financially incentivizing these endeavors, thereby enabling them, and she seemed to have agreed to stop. However, the psychiatrist didn't have anything to mention regarding what mental illness could possibly be afflicting Hans, except for anxiety. Hans doesn't have schizophrenia or bipolar disorder or anything you might have expected. Dr. Phil thought he could be suffering from a personality disorder, what with all the delusions of grandeur and antisocial behaviors, but that's it. I honestly have a hard time believing that what you see is how this guy naturally is, and maybe it's the case that the psychiatrist was unable to be thorough, or Sexy Vegan suffered some kind of brain damage from his prior drug abuse. In any case, Hans didn't continue to improve after his last appearance on Dr. Phil. In fact, it seems he's exclusively gotten worse since then. It's unclear if his mom is still bankrolling his reign of terror, but I mean, someone is if he's still got a pulse, because I can assure you that anybody with the name Sexy Vegan is definitely not employed. Even if Hans wants it to work, which he evidently doesn't, there's no way he could hold down a job. Unfortunately, there have been plenty of new developments in his story. In 2019, he was arrested for having his pit bull lick his butt, filming it, and then posting the video online. So much for putting a stop to animal cruelty. He pled no contest to the charges, was put on probation, and was given community service. His dogs were also thankfully taken out of his possession. His side of the story is that it's a double standard that people can keep animals in cages, but he isn't allowed to, you know, do what he did.
I'm innocent of all the charges. I would never abuse an animal. Society is so screwed up. It's okay to keep okay to keep animals in cages so small they cannot move for 2.5 years.
Right.
Yeah, a dog licking my butt on Twitter, that's the end of the world. But
Even in light of this bad publicity, he ran for president in the 2020 election. This endeavor was accompanied by some public speeches in his usual manner of stopping his car in the middle of busy traffic and then jumping on top of it. Yes, that's something he regularly does. In this video, he gives a very moving speech about his campaign promises, such as changing the national flag and building more public restrooms, and strangely enough, he claims to be endorsed by NPR. He reiterates his usual God complex spiel that, quote, "You are looking at the greatest living being that has ever lived." How eloquent. Then a cop car shows up and he hops back in his absolutely busted whip and speeds off. It's actually quite an impressive maneuver, but I guess he's used to doing this by now. Unfortunately, not all of his speeches have been as polite and inspirational as that one. During 2020, he would ironically be arrested yet again for mistreating animals. His pet rabbit had suffered severe injuries that were allegedly inflicted by him. His bail was set at $20,000, but he's clearly out on the streets again being a menace to society. So someone had to have bailed him out. What happened with these charges is currently unknown. Sexy Vegan is currently running for president again in the 2024 election and has an impressive social media presence to go along with his campaign. In fact, the Sexy Vegan Instagram account is currently sitting at a whopping 1.6 million followers. It's unclear if those followers are botted or what, but it's a sight to behold nonetheless. In any case, his posts consist of pictures of him wearing women's clothes and screenshots of profound Mark Twain quotes. His Instagram bio reads, "Please leave caps off and don't use dog poo bags so you don't trap insects. Flush the poo down the toilet instead. No stink in trash." This is actually quite an important point to him. He's drawn diagrams about this issue, and we see it pop up again on this website for his presidential run. On that website, there's a paragraph written about, among many other things, the importance of leaving the caps off plastic bottles and not using doggy bags so insects don't get trapped in them and die. His obsession with veganism apparently extends to a preoccupation with the suffering of insects as well, if that's even a thing. The universal law of karma dictates that you reap what you sow, not necessarily in real time or even in this particular known existence. Oprah has contended, and she was the person who established the career of Dr. Phil, and she met Dr. Phil when the meat industry was suing her for defamation, and Dr. Phil posted me to his social media in 2018 on Oprah's birthday, and Oprah told Dr. Oz, who resembles me, that she didn't believe in coincidences because there are too many. Please do not use dog poo bags because they are mutually disadvantageous because they trap insects and cause unpleasant odor in both the transient receptacle as well as on their way to pollute landfills. Please flush down the toilets or use fertilizer on the soil. Please do not use single-use intended plastic bottles, but if you do, then leave caps off because insects go in because they are thirsty. When you put the caps back on, then throw it away, the insect is trapped in there and suffers until they slowly die. There is a better way if you listen to me. I notice things that pass others by. True empathy is not telling others what they want to hear because you know it will go over well. True empathy is ending suffering even if people who lack the empathy to understand what you were doing not only don't give you the credit for your noble work, but insult and call you crazy. I currently live in an electric house and own an electric car. I do not drink, smoke, or use any illicit drugs, and I recycle everything. His other policy positions include legalizing prostitution, drugs, and public nudity, making animal testing illegal, and banning Wikipedia. Dog waste shall also be flushed down the toilet as a matter of vegan law. Among other things, his site also has a page for pictures of him and his butt. In fact, he has a strange but consistent fascination with his own. He's put out multiple albums where the cover art is just a picture of his, quote, heavenly cheeks. By the way, the track names on these albums are truly something else. For example, every now and then, I wear panties. His obsession extends to the unhinged videos on his YouTube channel, like this one describing how, after going to the bathroom, he washed his behind 100 times by splashing toilet water on it with his hand, which might tie back into the futuristic toilet technology in his previously mentioned novel. Perhaps backside hygiene is another hot button issue for him. Will we receive a rousing speech on the matter one day? Who knows? This is unrelated, but here I was thinking I knew something about making good videos, and Sexy Vegan crushes my self-esteem.
This is Sexy Vegan, so I got so angry earlier because I was in front of Hyde for a little bit, but it wasn't really going. So I went with this mirror with some stuff on it. My chair. I took an Uber out, right? Okay, so I'm hanging out in front of Hyde, and
I thought the hooks on my videos were compelling, but zam! That cold open on his long, slender legs just blows everything I've done out of the water. I've never been so immediately engaged in a video in my entire life. Now, jokes aside, since Hans' own agency is up for debate and all this, the responsibility falls on those around him, like his mother, to get help. At this point, he's 40 years old, so any improvement in his life will never start magically coming about on its own. Whether his family already tried and failed to help him, or his mother decided to continue her habit of financing him is currently unknown. Let's just hope that, at the very least, he doesn't commit any more offenses against animals. Out of anyone, you'd think the last person I'd have to say that about is a guy named Sexy Vegan, but here we are. Faking cancer is probably one of the most frowned upon things you can do that's still technically legal, right up there with being a furry. And even though it's such an egregious offense, it seems to be the go-to move for attention seekers and sympathy cravers nationwide, as well as the plot of It's Always Sunny episodes. It's surprising that they always opt for cancer, considering the kind of proof that's necessary to verify that claim, though pathological liars tend to not be the most forward-thinking people out there. A woman named Jessica went on Dr. Phil in 2015 to talk about her mother, Patricia, who was telling people she had stage 3 brain cancer, and she wasn't just making this claim to those around her. She'd even talked about her supposedly impending doom to the local news.
My mother did a local news story telling everyone that she had stage 3 cancer, that she was going to die.
Except, according to her daughter, Patricia was lying. She allegedly had a history of faking medical conditions ever since Jessica was little. After she and her siblings had gone to counselors at school about some kind of situation at home, CPS got involved. Patricia supposedly was aggravated by her and her siblings snitching, as it were, and put them in foster care. However, it seems she regretted this because during supervised visits, she pretended to have a limp from suffering a minor stroke to garner sympathy from her children. But she screwed up by mixing up which side the limp was supposed to be on. Among her claims now were that she had 17 strokes, had undergone chemo and brain surgery for the cancer, which included having her face, jaw, and ear surgically removed and replaced, that plates were put in her head, that she flatlined twice, and that she had collapsed lungs at one point.
When I first woke up from surgery, I had no memory. I was very scared when I found out I may not have much time. They said I wasn't going to walk again, I wasn't going to talk again. I had to learn everything over again.
She also made the astounding claim that she had lost 100 pounds while being in the hospital for a week, which is just, wow. That sounds like a killer clickbait ad for a sketchy website. This ugly son of a bitch lost 100 pounds in 6 days, and basically, you're f***ing stupid. She added to her status of an absolute specimen and freak of nature by claiming to be a world champion weightlifter with 12 world records, in spite of having strokes around the clock, or whatever else. Derek from More Plays, More Dates needs to get in touch with this lady so he can make a video called Not Having Brain Cancer is Killing Your Gains. Now, she did indeed have a couple of medals from lifting meets in the States, but yeah, nothing suggests that she's a world champion. However, that didn't stop her from touting the claim to attract even more attention and praise.
Altogether, I have 12 records. People are so shocked when they come up and say to me, you have been through brain surgery, you've been through chemo, and you're lifting all this weight. Every time I go to my doctor's appointment, they say, we don't know why you're still here. You are a living dead girl.
In her desperation, Jessica went to Dr. Phil so that Patricia could be confronted with her lies.
I cannot let my mom lie like this. I've told her to stop, I've confronted her with doctors, and I can't do it anymore. So I decided to write the Dr. Phil show because my mom wants attention, she wants a show, then let's give her a show.
Dr. Phil revealed to Patricia what she already knew, that there was nothing in her medical records to substantiate any of her myriad of claims, save for the fact that she did indeed have brain surgery, but it wasn't for brain cancer. He also brought up another issue at hand, the fact that, according to Jessica, Patricia's home was filthy. Jessica was worried about her brother's health and safety, as well as those of the pets residing in the house. Dr. Phil sent a specialist that confirmed it was a hazardous environment to live in by analyzing air and surface samples taken from the home. As for the motive behind all of these shenanigans, her daughter thought Patricia could be doing this to collect donations. And of course, the extreme nature of her claims naturally attract attention, sympathy, and praise. As for what happened to her ever since, it actually isn't clear. But maybe she's contracted a terminal case of foot fungus or something, so keep her in your prayers, guys. You've probably seen stories in the news about female teachers getting caught sleeping with their male students before. Arguably, the strangest part of the phenomenon is how it's consistently treated like a casual occurrence, or even something to be celebrated for the underage victim, no matter how young they are. It's quite a disturbing topic, and luckily we won't technically be talking about a case of an adult taking advantage of someone who is under the age of consent today. However, this is a case of an educator abusing abusing their position and subsequently getting arrested and criminally charged for it. Not only that, the incident was filmed and spread around the school. Meanwhile, the teacher tried to sue the victim's mother. In 2014, 29-year-old Tanya Ramirez got involved with a 17-year-old student named Tristan. He was not in her class, but he did indeed attend the school she worked at. To clarify, the age of consent in Texas is 17. However, it's still illegal for students and teachers to get together for obvious reasons. However, as it turns out, it wasn't immediately apparent to Tanya why such an engagement would be wrong. Tanya initially claimed Tristan was the one to pursue her, but Tristan revealed that, through a mutual friend, Tanya had informed him that she thought he was cute and that he should get her number, and that's how they first got in touch over text. That same friend allegedly also got with Miss Ramirez, though she denied this. They would end up talking for 4 weeks, exchanging over 300 texts, until, as Tanya puts it, things got more flirtatious. Some of their text exchanges were shared on the show. Tanya: maxed out on squat and sumo deadlift today. I'm sore already. I need a massage bad. Tristan: well, I'm good at massages, so... OMG, I'm so down. Me too. Yeah, I can't wait. Tanya: you don't text me back. When you see me, you don't say anything, so what's up? Tristan: haha, same with you, and okay, promise I'll talk to you next time. That's on you. I'm not forcing you to do or say anything. You just gotta let me know what you want. I'm going out of my way to text you first or go out of my way to see you, but I won't if that's not what you want. I will. You will what? That didn't answer my text. I do want, this is what I'm saying. Well, I'm beyond glad to hear that. Tanya: I haven't asked you, but how old are you? 17, haha. Haha, when's your B-day? March 24th. Oh. Ugh. That's a long time before you're 18. Yeah, I know. I couldn't even talk to you after school without someone coming up to us. Felt like we were being watched. Haha. Haha, I know. OMG. Do you have a girlfriend? Gotta ask that, cause I got played big time by you-know-who. Lol. Lol, no I don't. She explained that this last exchange had to do with another student. Tanya would end up inviting Tristan over to her house one night at 2 a.m., and you can imagine how that played out. She weirdly smirks as she talks to Dr. Phil about how they immediately went to the bedroom when Tristan arrived, which she claims was her idea. The complicating factor was that he recorded a short 10-second video of their encounter on his phone, which he did because his friend wanted proof. But in his drunken stupor, he claims he accidentally sent the clip in a group chat of a bunch of his friends. Imagine being in that group chat. Actually, on second thought, that video probably wasn't that much more confounding and unexplainable than the things you MFers send in your group chats. But that's for the next video. Meanwhile, Tanya felt that the video being leaked wasn't accidental, and that she had been set up by Tristan, whose intent from the beginning was to publicize himself getting with a teacher.
You think it was like a trophy thing?
Correct. Like he wanted some kind of recognition after, sleeping with a teacher.
She was also mad that he basically hit it and quit it and didn't communicate with her after the fact.
The next day, just one text in the morning and that was it.
What was that text?
He texted me that he had a great night, or it was great, or something in that matter. And then I text back that, yes, it was, that, maybe we could do it again.
Obviously, their relationship was exposed once a concerned parent found the video and brought it to the attention of the principal. As for Tanya, she found out about the video for the first time when her mother's coworker's niece showed it to them, so she had to watch this thing with her mother. Yikes! And I thought a teacher having OnlyFans was embarrassing. Concerningly enough, Tanya said she did Tristan a favor by making him more popular around school, and claimed this event led to him being named Homecoming King. Getting in trouble with the law was apparently quite the shock to Tanya, who thought that something like this was only grounds to be fired from her job, but not a criminal offense.
You say you didn't know it was wrong.
Well, I'm saying I didn't think it was legally wrong. I know, obviously, with my profession, I crossed a boundary with the contract that I signed. But legally, I didn't think I would be classified as a felon being charged with having sex with a consenting adult.
She pled guilty to the charge regarding Tristan and pled no contest to another charge of doing similar with another student. Though on the show, she denied her guilt for that charge, only accepting it for the sake of a plea deal. Tanya defended her actions to Dr. Phil by claiming that Tristan should be considered an adult and that he knew what he was doing, and that she was the real victim here because he recorded her without her knowledge. Her story doesn't bode well when you consider she initiated all their interactions, and the video wouldn't have been recorded if she didn't do this in the first place. Obviously, this became a big case in the local media at the time, which resulted in Tristan's mom calling Tanya a sexual predator in the news, which Tanya found to be inaccurate slander. As a result of this, she sued Tristan's mom for defamation, once again turning the tables on her victim. They clearly had animosity towards one another on the show, as when Tanya said the video went viral, Tristan's mom remarked that it wasn't that widespread because, quote, it wasn't that good.
The video went viral, so
obviously go viral. It wasn't that good. It was only 10 seconds, baby. It was only 10 seconds. And I don't even really feel like I...
This woman's got some crazy one-liners.
And your client was doing a booty call at 2 o'clock in the morning, having sex with my son.
What a demented situation. In accord with how these cases are usually treated, Dr. Phil was also cracking jokes and the audience was laughing during the whole show.
You said he had the phone in his pocket?
Some of it on the pocket, on somewhere where he was in his grasp to reach.
He didn't have any pockets at the time, did he? I mean, you made a big point in that he was not in your class. You weren't teaching him.
Right, he was never my student.
Right.
He was just enrolled in the same school.
Yeah. But he wasn't your student.
No.
Well, until that night. But is it Mrs. Ramirez, or how do you refer to her?
Tanya, Miss Ramirez.
How'd you refer to her that night?
I get it, but at the same time, I'm not sure if they'd be finding this so funny if it was a 31-year-old man and a 17-year-old girl. Nothing quite got resolved on the show, which is basically the norm for Dr. Phil, but hey, at least it's good content! There haven't been many updates on Tanya Ramirez ever since, besides the fact she started another lawsuit. This suit disputed the Penal Code of Texas, challenging the law which indicted Tanya in the first place. She was actually trying to overturn the law which forbids inappropriate interaction between students and teachers. What a mad lad. Or a mad ladette, I suppose. She just couldn't take her L in peace. She had to go and try and screw up the law to make it easier for other teens to be victimized by creepy teachers. The case's argument was that the law infringes upon the constitutional right to have consensual intercourse. I get what she and her lawyers mean, but like, that sounds incredibly funny. Ah yes, who could forget the 69th Amendment of the Bill of Rights, Thomas Jefferson's most profound piece of legal writing, which protects everyone's fundamental right to woohoo in The Sims 4. This whole case was literally Tanya accusing the legal system of you-know-what blocking her. Obviously, she was not successful in her crusade, and the state of Texas didn't see it her way. But that wouldn't stop her from attempting to take it to the Supreme Court in 2018, which clearly was unsuccessful. That probably would have been the most entertaining case to ever grace its halls, but alas, we live in the boring timeline, so we don't get to see Tanya Ramirez take the stand and give verbose arguments in defense of her poor impulse control around 17-year-olds. Do you want to live for 400 years? How about regrowing your limbs and organs? Would you like to know the secret to curing autism, AIDS, Down syndrome, and diabetes? All of which I can tell based on your appearance you may be suffering from. Are you sure you want to know? Can you handle the consequences of possessing such an elixir of life? Can you even handle the healing process? You'll be having strokes, aneurysms, and explosive diarrhea around the clock. Are you sure you're ready? You are? Really? Okay, well, there's a middle-aged Vietnamese lady out there giving the recipe for free on Facebook. Yes, I'm serious. Jillian May Tai Epperly is the creator of the illustrious Jilly Juice, a miraculous cure-all concoction that does all of the above and more, composed merely of 2 cups of water, 2 cups of cabbage, and 1 tablespoon of salt. For reference, 4 tablespoons of salt in one sitting is a lethal dose. All of this is blended and fermented, obviously, just like Mima used to make. And you're supposed to drink a gallon of it a day. That's 6.4 tablespoons of salt a day. She doesn't hide the fact that this will be a traumatizing experience for any prospective undertakers of the Jilly protocol.
You acknowledge that they're going to feel really not great when they start drinking this.
We're redefining the role of pain in our world.
Okay,
right?
but you're saying they're not going to feel well when they drink this at
They're
first.
going to feel different. They're going to feel, they're going to feel healing.
Your grandma's back pain? Let me push her down the stairs. She'll definitely be feeling the healing after that. Oh, and I forgot to mention, the juice has a special bonus effect if you're lucky.
You could potentially reverse homosexuality.
Oh, me? I'm not doing anything. Totally not ordering enough cabbage and salt to brew 100 gallons of this stuff as soon as possible. If it wasn't already obvious, Jilly Juice is a classic snake oil scheme. It garnered a fair amount of attention online in 2017, to the point where Jillian had a Facebook group with 58,000 members, and also got a warning from the FTC for false advertising. She was even instructing people to give her juice to babies, which is just so incredibly dangerous if you know literally anything about infants. They can't even drink water or cow's milk, let alone this absolute aberration of a beverage. Naturally, Jillian was the subject of plenty of bad press, and the vast majority of people rightfully thought she was a con artist, but a small cohort were desperately following her advice, which is what led to her appearance on the Dr. Phil show. She was there to discuss not only her abomination of a creation, but the other schizo health claims she was pushing online, and to confront the poor souls who were unfortunate enough to follow her advice and suffer the horrendous consequences. This included 2 women who went on the show to talk about the awful side effects they suffered as they increased their Jilly Juice intake. Honestly, they should have known better than to fret. The symptoms aren't a bug, they're a feature.
This is going to purge out everything. When you're detoxing and doing my protocol, you're gonna be expelling all those parasites, and it's not gonna be pretty.
These poor women explained how, along with supernatural amounts of diarrhea, they both suffered strokes. Or sorry, not diarrhea, waterfalls.
It's not diarrhea. It's
Violent
not diarrhea.
diarrhea.
It's called waterfalls because it's different context, different intention, and different outcome.
Okay, explosive diarrhea.
One of them actually had 2 strokes, leading up to which she was already having concerning symptoms. But when she contacted Jilly and her moderators about it at the time, they only egged her on to keep going.
By this time, I'd talked to one of her moderators. The moderator said, well, if it's not, why don't you back off on the juice and see what happens? If it goes away, it's just a healing symptom. Well, it didn't go away. It got worse. MRIs proved that I had had 2 strokes. And she was very rude to me. How do you know you had strokes? She says to me. Well, my doctors told me I had strokes. And you believed them? She said to me.
The other woman had a blood pressure reading of 205/185 at her worst point, which is simply harrowing. She was slurring her words extremely badly, and her face was drooping. She knew she was right on the verge of a stroke. Maybe the worst part of all of this is that, faced with the horrific consequences of her health recommendations, and even with these 2 women crying in front of her, Jillian didn't even flinch. Nothing can deter her from her delusions whatsoever, or cause her to even have a shred of guilt. She just blamed her own victims for not being dedicated enough to her advice.
So basically, all those symptoms reinforced your belief system that you're basically going to die from my protocol. So you basically just were like, you really didn't understand my protocol. If you did, you wouldn't.
All about you.
How dare you? Because it is a protocol. You guys came to me.
Jillian claimed it would have been worse had they not been drinking her fermented vegetable solution, as if these strokes occurred by themselves and the Jilly juice actually prevented it from being worse. She would also post on social media about these 2 women, calling the strokes healing symptoms.
Lady, she went to the hospital because she had little mini strokes.